Okay, so we are on lesson four, money and debt, debits. Again, our learning target is the same as it's been all week. The learning target is we're learning how to simplify integer expressions and apply integer rules. And the success criteria is I can add and subtract integers, I can identify and apply integer rules, I can evaluate integer operation using real world applications. The learning goal for this lesson, they have let's apply what we know about sign numbers to money. And then the learning target is I understand what positive and negative numbers mean in a situation involving money. So this is you guys' warm up for lesson four. It says Priya wants to buy three tickets for a concert. She has earned $135 and each ticket costs $50. She borrows the rest of the money she needs from a bank and buys the ticket. So the first question says, how can you represent the amount of money that Priya has after buying the ticket? So you can use a variable here. That literally would be my suggestion. So remember, she earned $135. Each ticket costs $50, and she's trying to buy three of them. The second question says, how much more money will Priya need to earn to buy back the money she borrowed? So first, figure out how much money she borrowed from the bank, and that'll basically answer this question. And the third question says, how much money will she have after she pays back the money she borrowed? So once we figure out how much she owes the bank and how much she need to pay back, then the last question is, how much will she have left after she does that? So our word bank for this lesson is deposit. So anytime you see the word deposit, it basically means that you're putting money into an account. The example they give you says the person adds $60 to their bank account. Before the deposit, they had $435. After the deposit, they had $495. So they basically deposited $60 into their account. The other word we have in our word bank today is withdrawal. When you take money out of an account, it is called a withdrawal. So, for example, a person removed $25 from their bank account. Before the withdrawal, they had $350. So basically, they withdrew $25. So it says after the withdrawal, they have $325 because $350 minus 25 give you $325. So the next activity that you guys have, it's a cafeteria scenario. It's at the beginning of the month. Karen had $24 in his school cafeteria account. Use a variable to represent the unknown quantity in each transaction below and write an equation to represent it. Then represent each transaction on a number line, which is what is the unknown quantity in each case. So I know in this particular situation, it's basically impossible to get number lines on here. So if you guys are completing the PowerPoint, you can just should be able to right click, add a new slide, and it'll give you a blank slide. Hit insert, and then where it says shapes, you can just add lines here. I can try, but last time it actually popped up this time. Okay, so you can just literally drag and drop to move the line over. And if you want to make it a different color, you can. If you want to make it bolder, you can hit the drop down icon and make thicker lines. So in this scenario, you would want to make at least 5 lines because we got 5 different questions. So I'm gonna just hit Control C, Control V to get another line. And again, since I need 5 of them, I would do Control V again. That's 3. Okay, hit Control V 2 more times, and it should give you 5 lines. And then from here, you can just drag and drop and move the lines wherever you want. So now you got 5 lines, and from here, again, this is only if you're completing the PowerPoint. You can click the draw icon. It's gonna take a second to load. On your Chromebook, you guys actually can write on the screen, so you should be able to hit the draw icon and click a pen color. Hit draw icon, click a pen color, and then actually write in your numerical values for your number line. If you are completing the packet, just take another sheet of paper out and create 5 lines, and I will provide you guys with rulers or paper if you need it during class time. So let's look at the scenario. The first one says in the first week he spent $16. So remember that he started with $24. So at the beginning of the month, Karen had $24 in the school cafeteria account. So if he started with $24, he spent $16 on lunch. How much would he have left? So remember, the first step is to make an equation. And then the second step is to figure out the answer to the question. And then the third step is actually draw a set of number lines to represent the situation. Okay. So I'll do this first one. He started with $24. If he spent 16, that means I'm subtracting. So 24 minus 16. And then will be 24. Yeah, 24 minus 16 is equal to X. And then you'll solve for what X is. And then here I would start at $24, go subtract 16, so go down 16 spots for my number line, and then stop at the final answer. And you'll do the same thing for questions 2, 3, 4, and 5. The next one, it says he deposited some more money and his account balance was $28. So I'm starting with X from my first one, question one, and I'm adding I'm adding Y, and that's going to be equal to 28. So remember, your solution for one is going to help you figure out two, and it keeps building on each other. Question three says, then he spent $34 on lunch the next week. How much was his account then? So I ended with $28. I spent 34, and so you can change the variable and use A, B, C, whichever one you want to do, but you'll start with 28. And then again, you spent the money, so you subtracting 34. And so what you have left at that, that'll give you the answer to three. Question four says that he had deposited enough money to pay off his debt to the cafeteria. How much did he deposit? And then finally, question five explain why it makes sense to use a negative number to represent Karen's account balance when he owes money. So this is how you guys will complete this. And again, don't forget to do your 5 number lines for each scenario, or at least for the first four. I don't think you need a number line for the question five. This question asks is how can we work with money, help you think about solving problems? So this whole context of this lesson has been dealing with money. So it's asking you, because we dealing with money, how did it help you deal with positive and negative numbers? Okay, so in this bank statement, what do you notice and what do you wonder? So they gave us a bunch of different balances. And this is a bank statement for a month from Andre. Um, it's from October 1st to November 1st. And again, I'm going to just stop right here, but just thinking about what do you notice and what do you wonder? Because then we're going to move on from here to the next set of questions for the same statement. So using the balance is asking us if we put withdrawals and deposits in the same column, um, how can they be represented? So if we moved all these and merged these into one column, how could that then be represented? Basically asking you about positive and negative values. Question two says Andre withdraw $40 to buy a music player. What is his new balance? So you're gonna start off at the ending balance and it's saying he's withdrawing $40. What will his new balance be? So we're looking at the balance you had from October 29th. And then question three says if Andre deposits $100 in his account, will he still be in debt? And how do you know? So it's more of a logical question. First figure out if he added $100, how much it will be, and then whether he will still owe money, because that's what that means. The cool down here again is another scenario for question one that says Claire has $150 in her bank account. She buys a bike for 200. What is Claire's account balance now? If Claire earns $75 in the next week for delivering the newspapers and depositing her account, what will her account balance be? So question one and two builds on each other. And then the lesson synopsis is slightly different from the packet to this one. But if you're doing a PowerPoint, just answering these questions. So what does the word money added to or money taken out? What does these things mean? The second one says, how can we represent owing money? That one says, why does it make sense to use negative numbers to represent debt? And the final question says, how can we tell how much money is needed to pay off a debt? Once you have looked through the lesson synopsis, you guys are going to go ahead and complete problem one and problem two. You have a chart that you have to, problem one is asking you to fill in the chart. And then question two or problem two, you're going to answer questions 1 through 4. And I think yours is labeled A, B, C, and D if you're using a packet. And just a FYI, guys, you do not have to complete questions 3 through 6. You can go ahead and place an X through those numbers. Once you have finished done that, then that means you have officially finished lesson 4. So great job. Again, if you have any additional questions, feel free to ask me during class. You can send me a message on Verse or anything else.